Hello, everybody. Can you hear me okay? Yes. Well, first of all, thank you, everybody, for being here. It's been a very exciting and learning couple of days so far. I think we're getting now to what I think is more industrial focus here, and I'm really proud and happy to be able to host and ask some questions to Andrés de Leon, the CEO of Hyperloop, so he can share with us something that I think is a bit of a parallel of what we've been talking about, the quantum computer evolution versus classic computers to traditional or high-speed rail versus the Hyperloop system. Of course, everybody talks, what's a Hyperloop? Is it a fast train? Is it a plane on the ground? Just to give you some perspective, in 1938, Italy launched the first high-speed train at 210 kilometers an hour. There hasn't been anything new since then. But today we'll be able to hear from Andrés, not only about the system, about where it is, about what your lives could be, where you could be working with a seamless commute, but also I think, Andrés, we want to hear from you about the model that you guys created since 2013, when you created the company, and you created also the crowdsourcing model, which I will talk about a little bit later, which I think is going to be a model to be applied for a lot of you millennials here in this post-pandemic world, where you were able to bring in the best minds to solve all the technical challenges to make the Hyperloop possible. And then also, obviously, creating a very sustainable system. So from that perspective, by the way, Harvard Business School, as Ronald Cohen was mentioning, has actually written 2 papers on the crowdsourcing model for Hyperloop, and showing that it was the most innovative startup with the largest amount of employees. I think it was 900 at the beginning, all paid in stock options. So they were all participating in the development process whilst maintaining their daily jobs. But anyway, I don't want to sort of, I'm not taking any thunder away from Andrés. Don't worry, guys. No, because, and I'm not going to be talking that much. I think there's a lot of links with several of the themes we've been talking about new materials, quantum computing, augmented reality, passenger experience. So with all of that, I mean, I'd like to hear from you, Andrés. How has this journey been for you and the company? And also what everybody wants to hear, when are we going to be able to get into one of those Hyperloops and actually enjoy it? When is it going to be available to the world?
Okay. Thank you, Ramon. Thank you for the nice intro and the nice... So, look, we started this 10 years ago, okay? When Elon created the white paper, when he said that he had no time to develop it, encouraged other companies to do it. We were part of an incubator funded with NASA and Gilman Institute to build companies in a completely different way, to build companies using crowdsourcing. Crowdsourcing means people working in exchange of equity of the project, okay? So we thought that this project was great for testing our model. We incorporate a company, we put the project in the platform, and immediately, you know, the son was bigger than the father, okay? And we had like 200 people around the world that they were really interested about working with us. And long story short, today we've got more than 900 contributors around the world. More than 50 companies has been also collaborating with us. Huge companies, important companies, Label, for instance, the inventor of the vacuum pump, the ones that they developed all the vacuum system of the Hadron Collider. Companies like Hitachi Rail that we have worked with them in developing the traffic management system based on the ERTMS of high-speed rail, you know, and adapted to the Hyperloop. And the beauty of the model is that allow you to use the talent of the people and to use it in a way that, you know, they are only focused on the things that they like, okay? And of course, you leverage all the expertise and all the capabilities of the companies. So we give them equity of the project, we retain the IP, and we will be licensing the IP to infrastructure operators and transportation operators of the future. That has been our journey, and in the last 2 years was not anymore about creating technology, it was more about transforming the technology in product, okay? And now we are in the commercialization phase. So trying to answer this question that you made, that is, I guess that is the question that everybody has in their minds, no? Is when, no? And that's great, by the way, because in the past was if, you know, if it's going to happen or not. And nobody asks about if it is going to happen anymore. Everybody knows that it's going to happen, but the question is when. Well, I would say that you were talking about Italy before, and I'm very happy to say that Italy is again taking the lead, you know, and it's nice to see that the European countries taking the lead on this. And, you know, they have done a tender, the first official tender, the Consorcio Autovia de Veneto has made the first official tender for an Hyperloop system in the world for 10 kilometers between Venice and Padova. It's a PPI, it's a public-private partnership for innovation project. We want to test and certify the technology there. And by the way, European Commission is also working in the work program of the European Commission. They have said that for Q4 of 2023, they will have the first impact assessment and regulatory guideline, regulatory framework for us. And we are presenting our offer to the tender now at the end of this month. We go together with the top ecosystem of transportation and mobility in Italy. Our partner Hitachi Rail is part of that. Leonardo, the biggest aerospace and defense company. We build, that is the biggest APC contractor of Italy, is in our consortium. So the industry is really, really endorsing this. And we expect to be awarded in January, do the feasibility study 6 months, and hopefully, if everything goes well, start construction in 2024.
Okay, so finally it is happening after all, and in Italy. That's good. I thought the Chinese basically were saying that they were advancing also quite fast. There's been a lot of talks of developments in the Middle East also. It's surprising to see that Europe is going to be one of the leaders then.
Well, I think that, you know, when we started to work more than 3 years, or more than 4 years ago with DG Move, and we gave it to them the regulatory guideline that we developed with TÜV SÜD, there was a clear interest in the European Commission to push this. Then in the Next Generation Fund, they put Hyperloop as part of this. But not only in Europe, you know, we are seeing that the Hyperloop is happening all over the world. We have our Great Lakes feasibility study that we finalized with great results to connect Chicago to Cleveland and Cleveland to Pittsburgh. We are also working now with the Federal Railroad Administration in the United States to create a prototype in the Transportation Test Center. So we are working, we have some opportunities in the Middle East that, you know, they are not concrete yet, so I don't want to disclose them, but, you know, when we have conversations. And yes, the Chinese are advancing. It's not us, okay? It's the Chinese, okay? But, so we better hurry up, no? And we better help the companies that we are trying to develop this, you know, to arrive to the finish line, because, you know, if not, we will see that, unfortunately, it's happening sometimes in other subjects. They will take the lead, no?
Mm-hmm. So in this whole journey, which has been a long time, I'm sure not everything has been easy or interesting. I mean, what has been your biggest frustration over this time? Now also hearing Sir Ronald Cohen saying that there are trillions of dollars for impact investing, and that everybody's looking for something that is sustainable, net zero, innovative, better, it improves everybody's life, basically it doesn't divide communities. How?
Why? Look, I don't want to polemize with our former speaker, but where is Joanna? Joanna, where are you? Okay, so give an applause to Joanna. He's my assistant, and he's the one that makes me work every day, okay? So, you know, if you ask her, what is my time, or in what I'm putting my time, probably I'm putting, I'd say, 70% of my time looking for investors and talking to investors, and being completely honest, is boring, okay? So until today, and don't get me wrong, we have raised a lot of money. We have raised 60 million in cash. We have raised more than 150 million in kinds, you know, with our crowdsourcing. But always coming from our strategic partners, always coming from the industry, always coming that. Whoever tells you that the financial world is supporting impact investment Sorry, I don't get it. I should be in my house and receiving calls every day, of the fidelities of the world, of the big funds of the world, of the big impact investment funds of the world. There is a lot of money in the world for infra. There is a lot of money in the world for tech. But when you put together the two things and you talk about infra tech, it's much more difficult. And until now, at least my experience, I'm not seeing the commitment of the financial world in investing in impact investments. I hope that will come.
Do you think it will change once the Italian project is...
Look, I think that it's going to change drastically with the Italian project, that's clear. But, that's an easy one. Of course, you see it's going to revolutionize the world. It's incredible. It's much more profitable. It's sustainable. It's that. Okay, great, fantastic. But that's not when I need you. I need you now, not then, okay? So I'm very critical with the financial world. Very, very critical on this. And look, I believe that everything is going to change. I believe in what he's saying. I believe that,
But you have not seen it yet. You have not seen that yet.
But I'm not seeing it.
Okay.
No, definitely.
Listen, before we get into all the impact of COP28 in Egypt, all of the different advances and the comparison with traditional rail, you told me that you had a video that you wanted to show. It's a very short video, just so that everybody has... I think everybody might not know a little bit about Hyperloop, but I think you wanted to show something that is quite interesting in a global overview.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea because, sometimes we give it for granted that everybody knows about us and about the journey, but let's put the video, and they will see a little bit our journey.
Yeah. It's only a short, I think it's 2-3 minute video that will give you a bit of an overview.
Imagine a capsule. Imagine a capsule that can carry people. Placed inside a depressurized tube, the air removed to eliminate resistance. Not traveling on rails, but actually levitating above them. Fully electric with zero operating emissions, capable of reaching airplane speeds and beyond on the ground. This is a Hyperloop, and it is no longer imagination. At Hyperloop Transportation Technologies, we haven't been dreaming it, we've been building it. From constructing the world's first full-scale Hyperloop system to revolutionizing how we ship freight, our team is building something amazing. We're transforming the passenger experience, putting comfort and safety at the center of everything we're doing. Our reimagined linear electric motor is powered by sustainable solar energy, propelling the capsule on a completely new, incredibly efficient passive levitation system. With these two breakthroughs, our system is capable of giving energy back to the grid. And the best part, all of this is just the start. Our team of over 800 strong, a worldwide intellectual ecosystem of thinkers and problem solvers tackle each day with the humble goal of changing the world. With its speed and efficiency, the Hyperloop will rewrite the rules of travel and mobility. But that's just one side of the story. There's another side that will have a far greater impact. It's the side that redefines how we connect with one another, where distant friends become neighbors, countries become neighborhoods, and everybody who inhabits this big, crazy world of ours grows a little closer together. Just imagine that.
So, as you can see, so very fast, fully sensorized, new materials, completely sustainable. Is quantum having an impact in your system? Are you looking at it? And also, how do you compare, I mean, what's the real evolution from what we see today, all the high-speed train lines that are still being built worldwide?
Yeah, well, starting from your first question, yes. Hyperloop is not only about propulsion and levitation, it's not only about vacuum technologies. There is also a complete digital layer around the Hyperloop, okay? That has to do with the traffic management and control, has to do with how do we manage the passengers, how do we manage also the freight, how do we manage the assets, that we have in infrastructure, to health monitoring and everything like that. So we are working with one of the top companies in the world, analyzing also how we can use quantum and edge computing, in that. At the end, Hyperloop goes, the second generation of Hyperloop will go at 1,200 kilometers per hour, okay? So you have problems of latency, you have problems of how do you manage all the data in real time, and how do you do it, in an efficient way. So we always do the same, no? We look for existing technologies and we adapt it, but we also look for what is coming to try to put it in our next generations. And we are already working, with having quantum and edge computing on this. The second question, I forget. What was about it?
No, how can you make a comparison?
Oh, okay, good.
We see this, but everybody tells us high-speed train is good enough.
Yeah, high-speed rail is great. It's amazing. If we go to Madrid tomorrow, we are going to take the AVE. We are not going to go by plane, and it's great. But has a huge problem of limits, on the demand. And this is very simple. Everybody's going to understand. If you go to Madrid, you take the AVE. But if you go to Sevilla, nobody wants to be 5 hours in a train to arrive to Sevilla, okay? So basically what happened is that the demand goes down drastically. More than 3 hours, there is a lot of studies that tell you that nobody takes the train, okay? And, people take the plane. That is much more a problem for, CO2 emissions and contamination and things like that. So what happened is that the Hyperloop break that distance, Hyperloop changed the way that we can think about this, Almost all continental distance can be covered by an Hyperloop system. And of course, like one chief strategy officer of a big rail company told me one day, if you do the longest, you will do the shortest too, no? If you can go to Paris in one and a half hour, of course you want to go from Madrid to Barcelona in half an hour and not in 2.5 hours. But in addition to that, and more important, the question is sustainability, okay? We have been working very, very hard to reduce the consumption of energy, the energy consumption. We have passive magnetic levitation. We have no aerodynamics, we don't have consumption based on aerodynamics because we are in very little because we are in a semi-vacuum environment. Our technology doesn't grow exponentially the energy consumption when you grow or when you go faster. So, and on top of that, we are using the infrastructure to put solar panels on top, and we generate more energy than we consume. So, in general, in all the studies that we have done, we generate between 5 to 10% more in a balanced year of energy that we consume. And because we are generating that energy with sustainable energy methods, we can say that we are CO2 neutral from the point of view of operations.
Okay. And in terms of cost, I mean, is it comparable between the two?
Well, that's the biggest, that's also, and thank you for reminding me, that's also one of the biggest advantages, no? Look, I'm very proud to say that I come from Spain. Spain is the second country in the world with more kilometers of high-speed rail after China. We are the one with the lowest capex per kilometer, again, except China, But the line that is more successful, that is Madrid-Barcelona, in an independent study that was done by the University of Valencia, they arrived to the conclusion that if you put together the P&L of Adif and Renfe, you have 120 years payback period. I'm talking about the financial viability. Of course, there is a social economical impact, and that's why taxpayers pay for that, okay? But it's rely on taxpayers, okay? So in all the studies that we have done, we have arrived to payback periods between 20 to 25 years. We have a ratio of benefit cost according to the modeling, the federal modeling of transportation, in the United States, of 2.2 against 1.4. That is the projects that they are being developed on high-speed rail. So why is this important? Because this is the key point, okay? Because at the end, what happened is that with 25 years, this could be privately financed completely, okay?
So with all the trillions that Sir Ronald Cohen was
so you don't
telling
need
us about.
You don't need public subsidies. You don't need taxpayers paying for this. And our numbers are good, but there are some studies done by one big infra operator in Europe that they talk about 10 to 15. Personally, I think that they are too optimistic. But anyway, 2025 is
That
great.
is definitely very good news. I mean, if it's financially viable, and it's going to happen soon. In addition to all of this and the ecosystem that you're building with human capital, bring all kinds of different technologies together, what are you most proud of everything that you're achieving in your whole model?
Well, I think that what I'm most proud of what we have achieved, because we have achieved it together, not what I have achieved, definitely is the crowdsourcing model, no? The way that we have built this company. It's very curious, no? Because I'm even more interested, more proud about how than about what, okay? It's amazing, we're building the Hyperloop, okay? Don't get me wrong, it's a great journey, it's an amazing project. I hope that one day, you know, people will remember that there was a lot of people fighting like crazy. I always say, no, they told me, well, your company is going to be a unicorn. I say, no, we are a desert. We are camel. We have been through the desert for 10 years. We're not a unicorn, we're a camel, okay? And our people have so incredible level of resilience. You cannot even imagine, you know, 10 years fighting and fighting and fighting to make this happen, okay? But definitely I'm really, really proud of how are we doing it. You know, our model is so powerful that I really believe that that's the future of how we are going to work in the future, no? We were talking about, the other day, no, we were talking about the famous Great Resignation in the United States, you know, the millennials and things like that, you know. So they don't want to work in a company anymore. They don't want to just be working there for all his life. So, okay, let's do crowdsourcing, you know. What are you good at, okay? Maybe you. What's your best strength? You, tell me. Oh, you, come on. What are you doing?
Yeah. Medical engineer.
Mechanical engineer, okay.
Biomedical.
Biomedical engineer, perfect. So, you know, your future is to be specialized in what you do really, really good, okay? And rent your capabilities, rent your resources to different companies around the world. And that's the future. You know, that's what millennials want to do. They don't want to be encouraged, you know, like we were before. And it's very funny because in a country like this, basically, the future is coming back to what our grandfathers used to do, no? El famoso pluriempleo, no? That we were talking. So that's what is going to happen.
Okay. Well, that's very exciting. Listen, we have 2 minutes. And I just want to sort of recap on everything we're doing. We've got a capsule with all kinds of sensors that need to be connected. They're going to be connected with in the passenger experience, connected with all of your wearable devices. And imagine living in Barcelona and having a half-hour commute to Madrid, or an hour and a half to Paris, or less than an hour to Toulouse. I mean, that certainly changes people's lives. You were talking also in the tube that is kind of made of green steel. Well, you didn't mention it, but you told me before as we were talking. The capsule is fully composite with all kinds of sensors, and everything needs to be put together with lots of different computing, which is where quantum comes in. And I think this is a real industrial case of what the new reality and the new industry that we've been talking about for the last couple of days. So, Andres, thank you very, very much. I think that Harvard actually will probably write another chapter, Harvard Business School, the 3rd paper, once you complete the crowdsourcing circle, when you create that exit and that new line. And I don't know, do you want to leave us with any last thought?
Well, I think that there is one sentence that I love, you know, that we always, or you know, some kind of state of mind that we have in our company that I really, really love, and I like to encourage to everybody. You know, we used to say that, you know, there was a sentence that say, if people tell you that it's not possible, and they tell you that that's not going to happen, that doesn't mean that it's not possible. That doesn't mean that it's not going to happen. That only means that they have not figured out how to do it. And that doesn't mean that you cannot do it by yourself, okay? So I encourage the next generations to, and very similar to the message of our former speaker, to really be part of this revolution, of really being pushing for projects that are difficult but that are there and are possible, and of course, thinking projects that are much more sustainable and that are great for the future of humanity. No?
Well, listen, thank you very much, Andres. I mean, we look forward to seeing you again probably at the next edition of Puzzle X, hopefully having experienced the new project and with more developments. Congratulations on all of your achievements. Good luck on the project, and thank you very, very much for coming over here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Ramon.
Andres.
Thank you.